Hello everybody, welcome back to Diecast Driven, coming to you on another Friday. Today we have the last two Ross Chastain cars in my collection. This first one is his 2023 Ally 400 victory from the Nashville Superspeedway. Ross led 99 of the 300 laps, taking home the award for most laps led that day. I don't really have any opinions on Nashville Superspeedway. My parents actually went there back in 2008 for the nationwide race, and I was pretty happy when they brought it to the Cup schedule because for the longest time the schedule was stagnant. There were a lot of tracks that the Cup Series would go to twice a year, the mile-and-a-half cookie cutter tracks, and I just think the schedule needed to be revitalized, have a little bit more diversity in the track styles and the layouts. And there are so many great tracks in the United States for big series to go to, and that big series do go to. I wasn't sure why NASCAR was so fixed on having a very stagnant schedule, and it just seemed like they were doing the same thing over and over again every year. And it got very boring after a while going to the same tracks. Now, it was nice because of a traditional standpoint. You kind of knew the schedule front to back, so you knew that this weekend they'd be going to Talladega, or that weekend they'd be going to Bristol or Las Vegas or whatever. But I'm glad they decided over the past couple of years to kind of shuffle the schedule a little bit, take away a second date from some tracks and add some new tracks in. And I was glad to see Ross take home the victory here at the Nashville Superspeedway. Nothing too crazy about this car. I mean, unfortunately, both wins today have the same paint scheme. Ross runs a lot of very cool paint schemes. For some reason, in 2023, he decided to win both of his races in the same paint scheme. So this one has confetti on it. It differentiates it from his Phoenix win a little bit differently. Now, moving on to that Phoenix win, I don't really want to go too much in depth about it because I want to talk about the point system. Ross led, again, the most laps, 157 out of the 312, obviously winning the race. Major difference on this car from the Nashville car was the windshield tape that they had for the setting sun, and then the NASCAR 75th anniversary decals on the Goodyear tires. Other than those two things, I mean, and the confetti from the Nashville car, these are pretty much identical. But regarding the points and the playoff system that they have in place now, if you would have told me that in 2014, 10 years later from that, only one non-Championship 4 driver were to win that final race, I would have called you crazy. Statistically, just doesn't make sense to me. We can get into that conversation another day, but I just want to focus right now on the points as a whole, as we're the second week into this 2024 playoff format, and we have drivers like Ross Chastain, Kyle Busch, Bubba Wallace, Chris Buescher on the outside looking in, and you have drivers like Harrison Burton, Chase Briscoe, Austin Cindric in the playoffs. It's just a broken system, and I hate to harp on it, but I mean, I've been saying this since 2014 when Ryan Newman made it in with no wins. It just doesn't make sense to have playoffs in motorsports. They could rework the points, but I akin it most to the Premier League and most other professional soccer leagues around the world because it is a full season point system. They have to be good and consistent throughout the entire season, and every single match matters. If they drop points in the first match or they drop points in the last match, it matters. They play every team home and away, so they get to play each team twice and they get both atmospheres. It's similar to NASCAR. You face every single team every single week on every single type of track. You have to be good and consistent all year, and they can add points for winning. You can double the point total for winning, whatever it may be. But I digress. I hope you guys have a good weekend. Enjoy Watkins Glen, and we'll catch you next week. Bye.